speaker. We're extremely fortunate to have with us tonight a true service warrior who has served in the United States Navy for 30 years, retired Master Chief Paul Abney. Now, he enlisted in the Navy in 1977. I was tempted to have those that weren't even born in 77 stand up, but sorry, Master Chief. I didn't want the whole room to stand up. Master Chief Abney was a sonar technician. He served on the cruisers USS Dale and Lake Champlain, and also on the destroyers USS John Rogers and USS Cole. Ashore, he has served as instructor in various combat systems training commands. Over a 30-year career, Master Chief Abney deployed numerous times to various hotspots around the world and participated in many different operations. He served aboard the USS Cole as the Weapons Department leading Chief Petty Officer when on October 12, 2000, during a brief stop for fuel in Yemen, his ship was attacked by terrorists in an explosive-laden boat. Now, if you all noticed on your ticket, it says Navy Tough. Well, we are really, really fortunate to have somebody that can talk to toughness. So please help me in please join me in helping to welcome Master Chief Abney here at the podium.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
This wasn't on my schedule, but for a moment, can we take just a moment, say a silent prayer or just some silence for the victims of this shooting. This took place. I know it's not military related, but yesterday the McCain just got underway to go back to Japan. Fitzgerald happened this year. Just thought it was appropriate. We'll take just a moment of silence. Thank you. He said if I come and be a guest speaker that I'm supposed to have an icebreaker. But I looked through Wikipedia, I looked on the internet, everywhere I looked, when I saw icebreakers, it was always the Coast Guard, it wasn't the Navy. So I'm still at a loss. They asked me to speak on Navy Toughness. This is tough. I was on USS Cole. We pulled in that day. I tell you, I was sitting in the CPO mess. There was a dozen of us in the mess. I'd eaten early. I was already watching Mission Impossible 2. That's an old movie. And there was like 6 of us in the lounge area, and the other 6 chiefs were behind me, still eating. There was this explosion that went off with the on the TV with the movie, and a split-second thought that went through my head was, man, that was loud for a movie, followed by a blast that knocked me back. And the last thing I saw was a shipmate sitting in front of me going over my head as it threw him across the room. The room became pitch black, filled with this acrid smoke, and I had to crawl around to try and find my way out of there. Where the door should have been, it was kind of a mangled mess. I made my way back around to where the galley door was. There was another shipmate coming out there. I said, Master Chief, I don't think we can get out that way. And as I kind of made my way back towards the false bulkhead so we could let someone know we were in there, I had a shipmate grab me by the shoulder in a death grip and said, Master Chief, I'm dying, you gotta help me get out of here. And I said, we're all gonna die if we can't get out of this smoke. I need to get to that false bulkhead over there and let someone know we're trapped. So I made my way over, and I ended up having to move another shipmate that I crawl on top of, and I found that out through his screams. He had a broken leg, but moving him aside, I was able to beat on this bulkhead for a while, and the next thing I saw was the face of my hero to this day. At that time, he was H22 Regal. I think he's recently retired Senior Chief Regal. And he got me out of that space. Once I got out, the rest of the commitment was to try and get the rest of the chiefs out of there. And I went through a series of things trying to help find stretcher bearers, get them back down there, and get those guys out. But that's the context of my story in this. As it relates to others, and trying to think of what really toughness is about. I know the captain mentioned honor, courage, and commitment, our core values. I think the CNO has brought up some new core attributes that they're trying to get across. Integrity, accountability, initiative, and toughness. And toughness, really, it is about the aspect I think he's trying to get across is about our ability of not only resilience to take a hit, but then the ability to fight back after that hit. And where does that come from, the strength that goes into that? I would say, looking through his pieces there, he talks about there's basically strength and training, as well as ideas and insights that will get us out of that. Well, as you look at each one of these things, where does our strength come from? And I think that has its root in various different things. One of that is encouragement from our shipmates, fighting spirit that is a part of our Navy, and as well as the strength provided from our families, and then also from our faith. And as I've looked into some of this a little bit, really I think a lot of this strength is really rooted in something that we mislabel a lot in this country, the word love. If you go back to its Greek roots, they break it up into like 4 categories. There's eros, which is, I think we're all familiar with, romantic sexual love. There's also storge, which is a family love. You know, the love we have for our children. Nobody can break that bond. There's phileo, which is they call it a brotherly love. It's really, friendship based. You got my back, I got yours. We're doing this because we're friends. But I think the love that is the source of strength for the military is an agape love, which is it's really a sacrificial love. So it's willing to put your life on the line for your shipmate, and them knowing that whether I like you or not, whether they like me, I know they got my back, and I've got his. So it has nothing to do with friendship. It has to do with where we fit into the system, where we fit into the structure as a whole. It's not unlike if you look at a body. We all have different parts. our head, our mouth, our ears, our hands, our feet. Each one of those does its individual job independently and very good. But your hands don't work very good as your feet. They wear out pretty quickly. Try walking around on them for a while. So it's kind of the same way. You don't want to eat with your feet either. Maybe not your ears. So everything has its own structure and where it works. In the same way as we go across and predominantly what I'm familiar with, the surface Navy, those individual spaces, the people that do damage control, the people that do combat systems, the people that are doing communications, each one of those parts are very key to all saving each other. And they've got to work together. So keeping them working together is the source of that strength. And it's really, like I said, rooted in that agape love, in my opinion. So how do we do this? Well, through rigorous training is really what you want to do. And I say, it's got to be training that builds our tacit knowledge. So some of you are familiar with that word. If you think about it, probably the easiest way to explain it is riding a bicycle. You can't show somebody on a PowerPoint how to ride a bicycle. You might explain the principles, but until they get on it and experience it and learn to balance it, they're not going to go very far. It sometimes takes someone else riding along with them and helping them to get it going and get it down. But once they got it, once they can balance it, once they're riding it, it's good. And that tacit knowledge is something on so many key positions we got to pass on. It gives us a source of strength in knowing that when the stuff hits the fan, shipmates got your back. Also, we've got to learn from failures. We got to not be afraid to bring those failures out that happen up to the top. Transparency in our failures so that we learn from them, because the best way to learn and get better is to be transparent with what goes wrong. And finally, I'll say training through innovation. And that is the ability to go down to anybody that has a good idea and try it out. I mean, if you're, I can tell you back on the Lake Champlain, when we were on there, we did a GQ at like 2 o'clock in the morning one time, and it took 20 minutes to set GQ. So we did it again the next day, and it was about 17 minutes. It didn't get a whole lot better. Finally, someone put a suggestion in the CO's box that said, if we set modified zebra, main deck and below, with the exception of these berthing spaces where people are having to line up in lines to come out one person at a time through the scuttle, we might get it a little faster. So we modified it after that, and we were able to set it in roughly 10 minutes in the middle of the night, which I thought was pretty phenomenal. But the key thing there was being able to get people up and out of those berthing spaces. Now, I don't know if that would have helped like Fitzgerald, because you had another problem there with the water coming in, and maybe with the hatch open, instead of having a couple minutes to get out, they might have only had 1 minute. But we can test these things, we can try them and do those. And then finally, kind of the other thing on toughness, I think, is bringing those various ideas up to the top. I talked about bringing the ideas out in training, but we need to explore them from all possibilities. Ideas and innovations that will defeat our adversaries, that are inspired from the junior people up, and actually that take in the whole spirit of American innovation, because it is many times it's not what's in the book that gets you through things. I can tell you numerous stories, and I don't want to hold you up that long to do that. I'll just give you one on the coal. Through one of our failures, I mean, we were actually feeling pretty good. It was late Saturday night. This happened, the original explosion happened on Thursday morning. So we fought through. We had a couple main spaces that were flooded. We dewatered some. We stopped the progressive flooding. But late in the night on Saturday night, we started a shaft seal blew out between MER1 and aux 2. So aux 2 is now flooding again, and the 60 ductors we had coming up out of the mess decks was not doing it anymore. So it was progressive flooding into MER2. And in the midst of trying to get all that done, we ended up with making the mistake, because we're so focused on that one that when number 3 generator ran out of power, they rushed back to restart it, ran out of start air, and now they were in a real bind because we didn't have the start air to fix it. So now they're doing a bucket brigade. We had various different innovations that went trying to get the dewatering going, and finally to get the generator back online was the real point here. Was they took the SCBA evacs, a couple of those together, along with torpedo charging hoses that weren't rated for that, but by borrowing some fittings from the divers that were there at the time and running that back down to number 3 generator, they were able, over a 6-hour period, to get enough start air back in the tank to start number 3 generator and get it back up. Now that was a little bit of innovation. And I think all of us have that at all times, that when the stuff hits the fan, we need to be ready for that. So as they go through drills, as they go through training, as we go through different things on board the ships, and you have the opportunity to work with these kids, being able to bring in new ideas, try different things, I think really helps them improve their training and overall improve that spirit of toughness. That's it.
Thank you, Paul. So, what do you get a retired Master Chief who loves naval history and heritage? Besides whiskey. Books, right? So we got together and got you a couple things. One is a history of the Navy in Newport.
Excellent.
And one is a Rhode Island and the U.S. Naval Torpedo Station.
Wonderful.
So,
Before we send you off the stage, everybody stand up. Come here, West Point.
don't be too mean. We've got plans for them later.
Why don't you help me out here and give a Master Chief Abney here a booyah, baby.